Here's the thing, the cartoons we grew up with in the 90s, they weren't really for kids. Rocko's Modern Life had phone sex jokes. Ren and Stimpy was basically gross out chaos with hidden adult satire. And even Hey Arnold dropped heavy life lessons about poverty and broken families. Today we are diving into the most what the f moments from these Nickelodeon classics. And yeah, we are talking about the weird video games too. On the surface, Rocko's Modern Life looked like a cutie story about an Australian wallaby trying to survive in America, but in reality, it was a full-blown roast of adult life. Bills, crappy jobs, gross consumer culture, all wrapped in absurd comedy. Rocko moves into an old town, rents a tiny house and gets stuck with the weirdest crew. Heifer, a cow literally raised by wolves, Filbert, hypochondriac turtle, and Spunky, his dumb-ass Briggs dog who can't go 5 seconds without licking something dangerous. The show constantly dragged adult problems, pushy ads, awful bosses, annoying neighbors, non-stop paperwork. Like Rocko's boss at the comic shop Mr. Smithy, the dude was a straight-up nightmare manager before that was even a meme. But the kicker was always the hidden adult humor. Remember the episode where Rocko worked at a phone helpline? He's literally saying, "Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby," into the receiver while the sign behind him says, "Be hot, be naughty, be courteous." Yeah, customer service, my ass. Or the deleted gag where Heifer discovers a milking machine and enjoying it a little too much. Nickelodeon acts that scene really quick, and the hotel episode, Rocko and Heifer check in, the clerk assumes they are lovers, and when Rocko confirms it's for all night, the clerk winks and goes, "Whoa, all night? Okay." That's prime time innuendo on a kid's channel. Visually it was just as chaotic, bright neon, weird, grotesque designs, insane facial expressions. Joe Murray, the creator, said a lot of the storylines came from his own life. His philosophy was simple: when you are broke, you take risks. Once you are rich, you play safe and churn out junk food entertainment. The series only lasted 4 seasons, from 1993 to 1996, but the impact stuck. In 2019, Netflix reviewed it with Rocko's Modern Life, Stay Clean, where the gang tries to survive in the age of smartphones and hashtags. Now let's talk about games. Rocko only got one, but oh man, it was something. The premise is pure chaos. Spunky, the world's dumbest dog, just walks forward non-stop, doesn't stop, doesn't think, just marches straight into every trap, pit and buzz so possible. Your job as Rocko is to run around each level, pull levers, move blocks and set up the world so Spunky doesn't die. It's basically like playing Lemmings, except instead of saving dozens of little guys, you are babysitting one dog who is suicidal by default. 1 second you are blocking a conveyor belt, in the next you are flipping a switch to keep him from drowning, and somehow you are always 2 steps behind. The game covers all the classic old town spots: Rocko's house, the comic store, even the choky chicken fast food joint. Backgrounds and characters, sprites actually captured on show's look, and you got little cameos from Heifer and Filbert popping in to cheer you on. The soundtrack, catchy but repetitive, classic SNES stuff. The gameplay though, man, it was brutal. No health bar for Spunky, no common sense either. If you missed him one thing, he had happily jump off a cliff. Chunky controls, unforgiving level design, and a trial and error loop. And it made you rage harder than Dark Souls on a bad day. Critics at the time were split. Some loved the originality, others trashed it as unplayable. Kids who just wanted to be Rocko ended up screaming at their TV because they had to babysit the world's dumbest mutt. Still, for all its flaws, it felt authentic. The chaos, the frustration, the "why am I doing this to myself" vibe perfectly matched the show's spirit. If you loved Rocko, you at least tried Spunky's Dangerous Day. Whether you finished it, that's another story. If Rocko was weird with adult jokes, Ren and Stimpy was just full-on unhinged. You had Ren, a chihuahua with anger issues and a nervous breakdown 24/7. Then Stimpy, a fat, lovable idiot cat. Put them together and every episode was some bizarre fever dream, inventing random gadgets, working insane jobs, or just abusing each other for 20 minutes. Launched in 1991, the show was Nickelodeon's wild card. It broke every rule: barbs, farts, grotesque close-up of boogers and pimples, Ren screaming like a lunatic while Stimpy drooled on himself. For kids raised on safe cartoons, this was chaos energy turned up to 11. But there was method to the madness. Creator John Kricfalusi, also known as John K., was obsessed with old-school cartoons like Tex Avery stuff. He wanted characters with crazy expressions, rubbery animation and zero predictability. And it worked. Ren and Stimpy fell alive in a way nothing else did. Of course, Nickelodeon execs freaked out constantly. John K. pushed up and Volpe so hard that by season 2 they straight up fired him. Still, the show lived and became iconic. And the legacy? Massive. Without Ren and Stimpy you don't get South Park, SpongeBob, Family Guy or half the edgy cartoons that come later. Yeah, it was gross and yeah, some adults hated it, but for us 90s kids it was legendary. Even today people debate whether it was dumb filth or genius satire, probably both. Unlike Rocko, Ren and Stimpy got a whole stack of games, 9 total between 1992 and 1995. Most were quick cash grabs, but a couple actually slapped. Space Cadet Adventures for Game Boy 1992. Stimpy's a Space Cadet, Ren's his commander. Side-scrolling platformer with puzzles like flipping switches and pushing crates. Simple graphics, stiff controls, but Game Boy kids were just hyped to see their chaotic duo in 8-bit green. Buckaroos for NES 1993, a weird mix of platforming and minigames all about collecting cash. Because if you watch the show, you know Ren and Stimpy were obsessed with money, clunky as hell but captured the do-dumb stuff for dollars vibe. But actually, in comparing with games for NES from 1992 or 1993, it looks really bad. Stimpy's invention for Genesis 1993, the Crown Jewel, full-on co-op platformer where you recover the pieces of Stimpy's busted machine. The animations were gorgeous, the humor spot on, and you could literally weaponize your partner, like Ren slingshooting Stimpy or Stimpy smashing Ren like a hammer. Easily the most authentic and fun Ren and Stimpy game. Videos for SNES and Game Boy 1993, a collection of mini-games tied to specific TV episodes. Good if you were obsessed with the show, boring if you weren't. Quest for the Shaven Yak for Game Gear Master System 1994. Yep, that's really title. It's just a basic handheld platformer, but it leaned into the absurd Ren and Stimpy lore, which made it at least entertaining. Fire Dogs for SNES 1994, based entirely on the Fire Dogs episode. Cool idea, terrible execution. Time Warp for SNES 1994, the boys go time traveling through different eras. Potential for greatness, but the gameplay was clunky and slow. And last one, Buckaroos for SNES 1995, totally different game than the NES one, more random minigames, still about money, still forgettable. Most of this felt rushed, but Stimpy's invention stands tall as the one genuinely good entry. Proof that even cash grab licensed games could nail the vibe if the devs cared. By 1996, Nickelodeon wanted something calmer, more heartfelt. Enter Hey Arnold. Arnold was the mellow kid with a football-snapped head living in a boarding house with his grandparents. The show focused on neighborhood adventures, school life and urban legends in Hillwood, a city clearly inspired by New York, Seattle and Chicago, all mashed together. Arnold was basically a kid philosopher, always chill, always doing the right thing. Geralt, his best friend, was the funny realist, and Helga, the ultimate bully with a crush. Her shrine to Arnold is still meme material. Unlike the chaos of Rocko and Ren Stimpy, Hey Arnold hit deeper. It tackled heavy stuff: poverty, broken homes, immigration, even depression, like Mr. Hoyne's heartbreaking Christmas episode or the Pidgeot Man story. Those hit differently when you rewatch as an adult. The art style was instantly recognizable, with everyone's funky heads shapes, and the jazzy soundtrack by Jim Lang, pure vibes. Hey Arnold felt like sipping hot cocoa in a city park. The show ran 5 seasons, from 1996 to 2004. had a movie in 2002 and finally got the Jungle movie in 2017, which revealed what happened to Arnold's missing parents. Fans waited over a decade for that closure. Compared to Ren and Stimpy, Arnold got the short end of the stick, just one real game. Hey Arnold, the movie for Game Boy Advance 2002, a basic tie-in platformer for the movie. You play as Arnold, Geralt and Helga, running through levels, dodging obstacles and stopping a greedy developer from wrecking the neighborhood. The graphics were colorful and it had cutscenes between stages, but gameplay was cookie cutter and forgettable. Beyond that, Arnold only showed up in a crossover Nick games like Nickelodeon's Racing or Nickelodeon's Basketball. Honestly, the funniest thing was seeing Helga trash talk everyone while driving a go-kart. So yeah, the 90s Nickelodeon lineup was secretly insane. Rocko roasted adult life, Ren and Stimpy melted our brains with chaos, and Arnold gave us a real wisdom in cartoon form. And the games, some were fun, some were not garbage, but all of them are pure nostalgia full. But now I gotta ask, which of these games did you actually play? Did you suffer through Spunky's endless death or co-op Stimpy's invention with a body? Drop your stories in the comments, I want to hear your childhood trauma. I'm Ivan, thanks for hanging out and I will catch you next time.